What's up, you sluts? Episode 4 of the motherfucking Honda Element build. Yeah, and we are getting into it. I am cutting some little window pieces for this. Some little metal to go in there. It is tedious AF. And the AF stands for as Frank. It's tedious as Frank to cut this stuff out. I got one piece cut, and I think I cut it like 50 times to fit in there perfectly. And then I traced it out onto this one. I'm cutting a second one for the other side. Then I got some metal to come across the other way. And then I'm going to figure out if I'm going to do just like a straight hard 90 there, or if I'm going to cut it back a little bit and do like a little 45-degree angle to angle it together. That's what we're working on. So then we'll get this little wall in this episode. Should have it in, welded in, solid. I'll probably weld out this panel off screen and then just have it in, because that's going to be boring and it's going to be like 2 hours of just welding. So yeah, I'll get this wall in. I have it there. I'm just going to prime the bottom edge of it with some rust primer before I slap it in there. And that way, that's the bottom edge that I won't be able to get to because it's sitting right against the floor there. And then I can just seal it right to the floor. And I'm not going to put that metal sheet wall in onto the frame until I figure out what I'm going to do on the bottom here. Because if I build a 1x1 frame on the bottom, I might tie into that wall and have it coming out. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to play around with the seats and set the seats in and see how much space I have. I know the seats have like a little thing that pops down into it, and I'm going to have to see how much space I have going into that, and how much space I need vertically. If I have room for a little floor, whether it's a 1/2 inch or a 1 inch floor, we're going to see. I also want to keep as much space as possible. I don't want to like remove any volume here, and I don't want to add weight for no reason. But I will be making things stronger. I'll probably in this episode box out this part of the frame. So basically I'm going to cut this down so it's all flush. It's going to require some creative cutting here. Then I'm going to put a piece of 1/8 inch plate that matches this, and then I'm going to fully weld it out so it's solid. And then I'm going to make a solid box at the end of this beam on the top here, because this B-pillar, this old B-pillar, would take a lot of the downforce of the structure of the thing twisting. So I'll probably have a piece that comes up from here to this post here, this beam to this B-pillar plate. So lots to do in this episode, but I figure I should have this cab boxed out in this episode. I figure I should have this boxed out, and I should have that boxed out, and then I can start working on the roof. We'll see what I get to. I might have to take a 2-week hiatus after episode 4 and go do some work. But, we're playing it by ear. We're playing it by ear here at the shitbox shed. Nothing too stressful. Just might need to go make a little bit of money just to keep the old shed running, keep the old lights on. But yeah, let's get back to it. I'm not going to bore you with cutting this out. I'll probably have to cut it like 5 times. My batteries just died, so I got to charge like 3 really big batteries, because all that will run with these angle grinders, the big batteries. The little one, it'll just click off. It just needs too much inrush current. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and keep your dick on the ice. this stuff cut out. Got it tacked in. I'm gonna tack the other side in, see if I like it. It was really hard cutting this. I mean, I cut this like 50 times. And the other side, same thing. Luckily, once I made this one, the other side wasn't as hard. I just traced it and cut off the line. But yeah, I'm gonna put it in, and I'm gonna make an angle on the piece coming this way, hold it up, draw my line on the back. Then I can kind of get an idea of this piece coming in here. Do that on the other side, and then I can start trimming stuff on the top. I think I'm just gonna square this up. I don't really like the round look here. This whole thing is so square. I'm just gonna make it nice and square. I might do like the 45 bevel at the top edge. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just gonna play around with it until I find something that I like. Step back, go pull it out in the sun in maybe an hour or two and look at it. Like I said, video one, a lot of this is just staring at it for hours on end and seeing if you like it, and if not, you just sand off the welds and you try something different. Alright, I got these side pieces cut out, just kind of clamped in place for now. These pieces are tacked in both sides, and I'm just taking my time looking at it, making sure that's what I want to do. It's really square, but I really do like that square look on this, and I'm thinking of having everything pretty squared off on it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I have these cut a little bit long, and I figured I would just cut it off in place. That was the idea. But we're just looking at it, just playing around with ideas. You know, it's a pretty integral part of it. What do I want to do there? You know, so take your time, do it once or maybe only 3 times, and then it's done. All right, it's another day on the old shitbox shed, and we got this mother friggin' element pulled outside, and boy howdy am I excited. I haven't cut these down yet, but yesterday off screen I got this frame welded in. There's a little bit of fin dangling. I had those pieces tacked in at the top, so basically I kind of got it in place, pushed it past, and then just gave them a little hit and tap up so they would kind of go up on an angle until I could get it right, and then pulled it back into place, clamped it all, and then welded around everything. I just put a really wet rag, big heavy wet rag, over the gas tank opening just in case. Not really concerned about fumes coming out of there, but just for safety's sake. But yeah, it's looking really good. It's nice and early in the morning right now, and I pulled this thing out so I can do some tacking in place of these pieces, and then I can start to do some cutting, and we're going to keep going on the top. We're going to keep going on the fabrication of the top. And so I'll cut a piece, slap it in there, and then I'll figure out how I want to transition this. I think maybe just an angle, just that notch, and then maybe I'll keep that notch all the way across on the top. I think it'll look cool. I think it'll look sharp. It'll match the really notchy back part here. And also, I decided to keep these pieces. I'm glad I didn't cut them off. And I'm just gonna like angle in a piece of 1/8 inch flat bar or whatever I got to kind of, I don't know, around there. And then this will have like a nice square kind of look the whole way. I'll have to measure, and I'll have to put the hatch on and make sure that it's not going to hit it, because the hatch, it kind of widens out at the bottom a little bit. But yeah, this is what we got going on. I also sanded these so I can put in some filler pieces. I'm probably going to tape on something onto this plastic, like maybe some masking tape, and then tape on like a wet rag so the splatter doesn't completely mess up this. I'll be like having to do a crap ton of body work anyway, and I'll probably paint those plastic pieces, but just because This one doesn't really line up. The other side lines up really good, so I might try to wedge to pull this out. The door's already welded, so I'm at the mercy of not having a lot of space here. Or maybe I can get to where it's bolted on with the one hinge that's left, and maybe I can loosen that and get this to pull out a little bit. The other side's like beautiful. I sanded it, and it was like, I just ran the flap disc over it, and it was like, and it was great. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I see a lot of like videos that are like, oh my god, watch us do this car build. And I just want to like set the air straight what a car build is and what a car assembly is. So if you got like this is like a real channel where I'm actually going to build parts. You know, I might reassemble an engine, but like, this is a real channel where I'm going to build cars. I'm not going to order $30,000 worth of like parts and then bolt them on. To me, that's cool, but I'm here to do things like, if you don't have money and you want to build a car, this is how to do it, you know? Not like, hey, if you have an infinite budget and time is no money, or money is no object to you, then, well, don't watch this channel, because I'm not going to be building like a Porsche 911 that I fucking strap on a body kit to. Not yet. But I'm just setting the air straight with that, you know? Letting you all know my intentions behind this channel. Like, yeah, maybe I'm going to change the headlights in this thing. But maybe I'll take these headlights apart and build cool headlights and put new lenses in them and put them back together. I don't know. You know, like, I'm that kind of guy. But thanks for sticking with me this far. I think this is going to be a longer episode, episode 4. But I'm going to get to work. Stop blabbing on and on and on. I love you. So if you know me and you're friends with me, you know that I'm a deeply spiritual person. Traveled around the world, trained in yoga and as a meditation teacher in India. And projects like this really are fortifying that notion of trust and the idea of trust. You know, a lot of this I have no idea what I'm doing. A lot of this I've never done before, but I'm feeling guided to do this. Have I made YouTube videos with car content before? No. But I'm feeling guided to do this. So I would really appreciate your subscription or liking or whatever you want to do, whatever you feel guided to do. And go make yourself some really cool stuff. And really stretch the limits of what you think you can do, because beyond that edge, you know, in yoga we call it sweet pain, beyond that edge, there's a new version of you just waiting to be born, just waiting for you to bloom and become something beyond what you thought you were ever capable of. Love you. Alright, I got this piece cut out a little bit more of the roof, lining this up. I'm not going to trim this piece until I make the vertical pieces that come up. So, just going to get a torch, and I'm going to heat this up a bit and gently massage it a little bit more straight. It's kind of coming on an angle like this, and I want it to come on an angle a little bit more vertically. So I'll get a torch. I'll heat that up nice and evenly, gently massage it with a sledgehammer, and then I can start figuring out the measurement of this piece and fabricating this piece. I'd like to do it in one piece. I probably won't, because it might be a lot of waste if the piece is like on this big angle. I don't know yet. We're gonna see. Or maybe I can cut this more straight and I can just put in one straight piece. Not too worried about it. We're just working away, drinking a coffee, taking our time. I drink 2 coffees in the morning, I drink 2 coffees at night. I drink 2 coffees in the afternoon, they make me feel alright. I drink 2 coffees in time of peace and 2 in time of war. I drink 2 coffees before I drink 2 coffees, and then I drink 2 more. Alright, keep you guys in the loop. I got about an inch and a quarter strip, and I use that same angle as the piece of metal that's going here, the little wall. I actually want to keep that congruency all the way along, and I'll keep that all the way along the roof line at the top here. And I think it'll make the transition here on the hatch better, because otherwise I'd have to have a piece of about 3/4 or inch straight up to keep this roof straight up. So I'm going to do this instead, and I might tweak it up a little bit. We're going to see. I'm going to slap this piece on, and I'm going to kind of see where it fits, and then I'll get it all prepped up, and before I weld that in, I'll hit some rust converter underneath here and on this edge, and then I'll hit some primer underneath there, some rust primer, and then I can sand this all down and start welding that together. But in the meantime, I'm probably waiting for that to dry. I'll probably cut a bunch of this up and start to shape this piece up. I'm going to put about an inch piece up, make it straight up about another inch, and then I'm going to start angling it in. I'm not going to do this crazy round angle. The actual back of the hatch is pretty square. The part that sits here is pretty square, so I'll probably just try to mimic that squareness, and then I'll just cut it into this piece and shape that around properly. Alright, so I took my angle finder and I measured the window when it comes up and the angle that the hatch goes out, and I roughly made a mark on both sides of that. You can see I'm not quite exactly lined up. I'll have to kind of redraw this a little bit, but so I'll cut this on that angle, and I'll cut that on both sides, and I'll start to box that out, and then I'll box this straight up to that angle, and then the whole profile should match the hatch. It should all go whoop, all at the same spot. I bent this a little bit more up. I know I had it at that very slight angle. It just didn't really work as well as I wanted. So I bent it a little bit more up, which was really easy since I have it just tacked in place. And this part is quite soft and malleable now because I heated it up so much before and hit it so many times with a hammer. So I'm just kind of gonna work on this for a while, get this all lined up, then I can build this straight up. I'll have to make like a little filler piece in here of about, I don't know, 1/2 inch to get up to that angle, but that's not really an issue. And before I completely weld and box this in, like I said, I will box this frame out to the very edge with 1/8 inch plate, just so it is super strong, and then I have something to mount onto for when I come down to the old B-pillar. Wow, is it nice out right now. Beautiful day out. I just got these plates tapped onto the bottom of this frame rail, so that's the shape it's going to take. It's going to come up, take that shape, and then go like this. So a nice tribute to the shape that's going to be on the actual hatch itself. And I might have to throw the hatch on and kind of line it up and see, but there's also a cap on. This is just the frame rail. There's a cap that goes on this, and then I'm going to be shaping that down as well. So I can kind of, I have space to get that shape a little bit better if it's not right. And I had to remind myself not to obsess too much over these to make them too perfect, like I was standing back every time and make sure they were nice and parallel and flat. I have to remind myself that this is just the frame rail. It's not the finished product like the outside sheet metal that you're gonna see. But it's coming along, slow and steady, and it is freaking hot out. But I am loving the heat. Alright, I'm making these fortification plates for the B pillar. So I made this one on this side. I have to make the other one for the other side yet. That one I think I'm going to do in pieces. I already have a few pieces cut. So this one fits in there pretty good. It's pretty flat. Nice and flat with this. So this will be a post coming out, and then I made some for this as well. I'm not going to put these ones on until later. I'm going to grind out a bunch around this and spray a bunch of paint in there and on the top here to kind of rust proof it, rust coat it. And I have made some for the other side as well. They're going to be in a bunch of pieces. These ones are going to go in like probably 2 or 3 pieces on each side. And then I'm going to put a post coming out. I'm just going to bring a post out like 4 or 5 inches, a 4 or a 2x2, and then the same thing here. And then I can make the sheet metal, the finished sheet metal around it, and then I can make the 2x2 cross section here after. So I'm going to do that on both sides today, hopefully. I don't know if I'll get it done. It all depends on how long it takes the paint to dry. So it might be something that I'm just fabricating all the parts today and it's not super productive. I might have to just do a bunch of grinding and paint some stuff and then wait for a bunch of stuff to dry. But I should have these welded in today on these old B pillars. It's another day in the old shitbox shed. Didn't get a lot done yesterday, but I got these plates made and I rust proofed the bottom side of them. I'm sure most of it's burnt off by now, but that's fine. I can like actually get at it from a hole here and I can spray up in there, spray all up in it. So I just welded those on this morning, and then I'm going to pull this thing out and do all that grinding and stuff outside, and that way I'm not breathing a lot of that stuff in. Try to do as much as I can outside. I can weld the sheet metal outside. I can't weld that thick plate outside. It's just too heavy, and the welder doesn't like it on the extension cord, which is fine. I like the welder and we need to respect it. So that's what I'm doing today. I probably won't get a lot done. I'll probably grind it. I didn't even get it ground down yesterday because I was busy doing a bunch of other stuff. So I'll have to grind it all down and then spray it with that rust converter. And that stuff can take like 5-6 hours to dry. So, you know, I imagine that might be all I get done today is get it ground down and painted. And then tomorrow I can start building and fabricating. I made these pieces yesterday. These are the 2x2 posts with a 1/4 inch plate on them. They were pretty rusty on the bottom of the plate, but I did some nice grinding and rust converting, and they're gonna go boop after I fill in this piece with 1/8 inch. They're gonna go there and they're gonna stick out, and then I'll cut them down after, and then I'll have a piece that goes on here as well that sticks up, and then I'll cut it down after, and then I'll just make a piece between them. I don't know what angle yet. I'm basically just going to try to copy it on both sides. So I have the two with the big plates to go onto the wall, and then I'm just going to cut hollow tubes without plates on them to go on top of these plates. This plate is really strong. And I mean, it's tied together, this whole frame rail now, and tied it into my 1x1 box frame. So I feel like this is going to be strong. I might make some like plates that come in here to tie this outer sheet metal in. This piece, I think I can just weld it on the back side here, and that'll do a lot. I don't think I need to fill in that. And this one's kind of cut pretty ugly on this side, so I'll probably just weld up that cut and then weld it to this actual plate, and then that's just going to tie all that together. So I don't know if I'll get to that today. We'll see. I could probably get to some of this welding today, but I do need to get to a lot of this grinding and grind off a lot of this ugly slag and stuff. And I just have like a little bit of a notch here for where I added in an extra bit of plate where I can't put the cap on. Where's my cap? Where I can't really get this cap on very succinctly yet. So, and that's going to be the profile of it coming back. So I have the cap there. So that's my plan today. So I ground this down pretty flat, and I don't know if you'll see it on camera. Some of my weld didn't penetrate along basically this line. So I'll re-weld that after a little bit later when I'm back in the shop and welding that up and everything. But I got a bunch of that ground down. It's always good to double check your work. I mean, I'm doing this stuff so it's strong. This side's really good. No real issues with any sort of penetration stuff. So good. It's always good to double check your work and call yourself out. You know, I'm not a professional welder. I'm just a dude that bought a welder, and I've been welding for years, but with just basically garbage, shitty, cheap welders. So this is the first time I've had a half decent welder. I'm not going to call it professional. First time I've had a half decent welder, and no gas, so it's still kind of ugly. It still makes some ugly welds, and you know, we're learning. So we grind down the welds. We make sure they're good and strong, because this part needs to be strong. That's what I'm doing. So this is the stuff I'm using to spray the rust, and you can see rust check, rust converter, before, converted, painted. So basically I grind down as much of that rust as I can, and then anything that's still rusty, it turns into a black surface. I don't know if I'm getting this right, but the light's kind of weird, but it turns kind of black into a primable surface. And I've used this stuff in the past. It works really good, but you can't just leave it just that. You have to paint a primer or a base coat over it. But yeah, it works really, really good. Good product. Oh, you are gonna cream your jeans. Look at this muffler. Oh yeah. It's all dented. Got it for like 20 bucks. Princess Auto. Look at how big the tube is. That's gonna mount right around there, and then it'll be straight pipe back. And oh yeah, it's gonna be fucking sweet. All right, it's been a slow, unproductive couple days, but I'm out here again Sunday morning, and getting these pieces welded on both sides, measured down to like a 32nd of an inch. I guess I could have measured it down to millimeters since I am Canadian, but I don't give a fuck about that. Anyway, so these are on. That plate's welded on, ready to go. It was all primed behind all of that surface yesterday, and had lots of time to dry. It was nice and hot here. And all I got left to do is throw on these posts. Boop. So careful measuring, squaring, make sure they're going to line up good on both sides. That side I got to do a little bit of grinding. But that's what I'm up to today. Get these posts on, and then I can continue. I might pull it outside and do all the welding of that sheet metal on the top, and then I can kind of have a better idea how it's going to look with the transition. But that's what I'm up to today. Had a lot of people, I posted this on Facebook, and a lot of people saying like, there goes the structural integrity. It's like, clearly they don't watch the video, because this is strong as fuck. And I'll probably have 1x1 square tubing that goes down to the actual frame as well. And I'm going to plate in all of these ends with 1/8 inch plate. So this is going to be like super strong, and there's going to be an 1/8 inch cap that goes over all of this. So I can't see this being a structural problem. It's going to be so freaking strong. Like if you're looking, like this is the old C-pillar frame. Look at how thin that is. That's like 3/32 maybe. And even this old, oh, it's still a little warm. Even this old plate that was part of the B-pillar frame here wasn't very thick, you know. So yeah, I think it'll be stronger than it was. All right, I got these things welded on. Good to go. These are all welded on. I did a little grinding around them. Double, triple checked, quadruple checked. The ones up here were not as easy to line up. I wanted them to be square this way. I had really nothing to measure off of. I got them pretty level off of this bar and about the same height. It's hard to tell on the top. That one angle over there is a little bit steeper, and it is just structural. It's not aesthetic, so it doesn't matter. But it's really hard to tell. It looks like that one is higher than that one. It's not. It just, yeah. So that's going to be how those stay until I get the sheet metal made around this rail, this bed rail, and the sheet metal made around that cab, which is what I'm going to focus on today, is maybe getting that top piece welded in like I said earlier. Alright, I got all this welded in, that whole top edge welded in. This part's just started to be tacked in, and it's going good. This is the top. These are those really beefy blocks I put in the frame rail to tie it all together, and to tie it in for this piece of the frame. I had to do some welding over here to this sheet metal. I cut a bit of that out so I could get behind this to weld into this chunk to that frame rail. I wanted it to be really, really strong, and just plugging away today. So this top cap is on. I'm going to throw on my hatch right away, and I'm going to see how that lines up with these pieces, and if I like that aesthetic, then I can kind of mimic that on the top cap. And then I'll probably have to do something with the plastic piece that goes on top, because there's a plastic piece that trims all of this as well. But I might just put the first plastic piece on and then make the rest out of metal, and then just kind of junction up to it. Oh, I should be careful what I touch. That's still warm. Well, I think that's where I'm going to leave it in episode 4. Got these welded in. I have this piece tacked in. I'll probably pull it out again. I have it pretty square, and I might trim the piece around so it kind of follows the angle of the window. That's just how it's going to go. But I'm going to leave it for now tacked. Look at it for like a bunch of days. I'm kind of at a standstill, so it's a good place to stop the episode. I need some weld through primer so I can paint up here, and then I can weld on that cap. And yeah, and there's lots of welding I can do off screen. I can weld up this whole piece. The other side is welded up, and I pop the hatch back in so I can start making all the details around it. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, I got a dirty face. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next episode of the Honda Element build, where we get extra slutty. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I love you. Peace.